Okay. Video 3 of 3, Sunday 11/12. Let's go with NU holding. Nice recovery rally, overcoming prior fail, but they did fail there first, see? And then if you bought the dip, like I always say, buy the dip, don't buy it going into prior fail. That's what happened. They bought the dip, and then they bounced and it broke out. They're in a breakout. They probably can get to $9, but in a series of lower highs and lower lows. So any weakness like this one into 820, 830 now would be a trading comment to get back to 9. These are trading comments. If you're an investor, you have to zoom out a little bit more. They haven't broken out on a higher time frame. So yes, it is higher than here, but they haven't proven themselves quite a bit. So, but anyway, I would be long, knowing that this is what they're dealing with, knowing that there are a lot of sellers up there, but that looks good for the buyers. If it, for some reason, drops to 750 or 720, get long for this opportunity. Oh, earnings in 2 days. Okay, whatever I said, coin flip outcome for the earnings. If it dips, go long. Well, if the fundamentals don't change. There you go. That scenario is still possible. So they're up here now. They could be building a shoulder. This to match that. And if they lose it, they might. So what am I saying? You could have better entry spots. I think there are a lot of sellers up here. We'll see how it plays out. Earnings? No. Palo Alto, the dip was a buying opportunity. Sellers. I wouldn't go long here. Oh, earnings in 3 days. So, yikes. So what you need to do, you need to see who else moves with Palo Alto. Like other industries, like CrowdStrike maybe. I don't know. I'm remembering tickers. So figure that out because they move in sympathy. Not an obvious entry point. Path was long by selling puts, but wasn't. I don't think I had calls. I'm out. Now above 1760, you could get to 1880. More. So if you take this out, this recent fail that they've had since October, they could get to the highs of September, which is basically saying what the market is going to do. Not going to be easy. Dips, yes, should be bought on path. I don't have a position in it now. The sold put played out. PDD. Oh, Pinduo. Yeah, again, I don't trade with Chinese companies. This stock is doing pretty well. I wouldn't go long here. So on a daily, looks like a breakout. On a weekly, looks like it wants to dip. So if I wanted to be long, I would wait for a dip to get long. That's what I would do. I think there's a catalyst above 113, but I think it could easily drop to 98 first. Palantir, again, it's almost at my target. We were long before the rally transpired, regardless of how. I personally sold puts on the last batch. Before that, I had shares, and before that, I had calls and shares and sold puts. So we played every dip, and we've made a lot of money with Palantir. What now? Nothing. It's going into my target. I don't go long charts when they go into my target. But it could break out, yes. And eventually, this is my look at my arrows, right? But it's going into a prior fail, going into my target. Whoops. If I'm going long now, what am I doing? I'm chasing. Why wasn't I long here? Yeah, I was, but why am I now buying it and not here when it had support? But earnings, so what? You either believe in the company or you don't. Are you a technical investor, a trader, or an investor? If you're an investor, where's the fire going long into this? But it could go to there. Yeah, but you're an investor. If you're a trader, that is not an obvious entry point. So either way, I would buy the dip. But I'm not going to stop you from chasing it. It's a good company. Okay, above 26, it could get to 27 or 28. If you can take this out, you can get to this area. It doesn't look that easy though. They're buying dips. The buyers are in charge since the October bottom here. So take your pick of entry. I do like everything below 25, but it's almost there. So again, trading or investing. Wait, earnings? No earnings. Okay. Who is this? Real. Oh, the real. Yeah, okay. Heavy sellers. Heavy. This resistance is huge. I would not be a buyer into this cluster. I would buy the dip into this void if you believe in the company. Look at that P&L. Not pretty. Not pretty. You need to look at the cash from operations. Okay? If it's red, negative, and that means they have to borrow in order to deliver these sales. That means their margins are crap and they're buying the business, and they cannot do that for a long time. All right, who is this? The Rocket Labs. That is not a P&L I would ever invest in. I don't mind spending, but I don't like when the net loss is growing faster than the sales. It's like C3 AI. You know, Twilio has a net loss always, but that's because the sales line is exploding higher. So they spend every penny they generate and then a little bit more, but they don't do this kind of stuff. So investment-wise, it's not for me. Trading-wise, it is a base. In fact, investment-wise, this has been a base. So this might work for an entry for both investors and traders. But you should know that you have sellers in this area, which is 470, give or take. And if you go above 485, now that's a trading comment. 485, you might get to 510, 515. But this whole area below current price is a base for both investors and traders. Rockwell Automation. What do they do again? Okay, so basically self-driving, maybe. Great P&L, not so great price action. See how amazing that is? Earlier we had questionable P&L, awesome price action. I forgot what stock it was, ANF. So this one, having lost the area around 270, tells me that they are going to drift lower to like 220. But I wouldn't short it for that because they do have support immediately. So as long as they hold 252, they're okay. And you cannot breathe a sigh of relief until they go above 267. 268. So you have a hard seller at 268 and a hard buyer at 252. So you can put a box around those two numbers. And if you want a visual of it, in fact, the box should be up here, a little bit higher than the number I mentioned, 270. If you lose the lower end, you end up down here. And if you take out this one, you might have an ascending channel building, trying to recover the neckline they lost. ROKU, again, if now you're looking to invest in it, where were you before the spike? I was long by short puts on ROKU. Delivered profits because I believed in its bottom end, but technically speaking, this has been a horrendous place to go long. Just ask the people on the left. This red line where it's at right now, which is 85, give or take, is the heaviest point of volume. But above that, there's no resistance. So if this week ROKU goes above 89, it can get to 100. But as an investor, now I'm buying it after it just rallied, whatever this is. What is this? 40%. You're going to have to ask yourself questions as to why now and not earlier. Okay, so what do? You missed it, admit it, and buy the dip. Where? I don't know, 72, 70, 68. It will get there at some point. Somebody will say something about it. What is this? Siemens, AG, Cedar, each. Yeah, we're going to skip that. I'm skipping it because the chart doesn't tell me anything. So you're going to have to study the company, and I have no clue what that is. SMCI, look at how well it behaved here versus our forecast. And this forecast started and is not out of the question yet. SMCI is a good company, but you have to respect the technicals. So what am I saying? I think it can get to 252 or 249 in the next couple of weeks. But if it takes out 281, then we're out of that scenario. You can put an X on that. But this is a tough resistance spot. So I wouldn't buy longs here. I could sell a put spread. In fact, I could do an iron condor if it's liquid enough. Snow. Looks like, oh, I remember snow. So a couple weeks ago, I had a trade that was iffy on snow, and if you have it, you made money. That's all there is to it. Up here, it's not an entry point, that's an exit point. So the reason I went long is because it fell into support, and then I left room for error, and it still was iffy. So up here, it's not for me. From a trading perspective, I look left, and that's a fail, and that's a neckline from July. So let them prove to me that they can take out 166, then they can get to 180. I think they need the market to be like doing incredibly well. SOFI. All right, so at least somebody's looking at buying dips. I like your instinct. Okay. I don't disagree. This is a trading opportunity. So if I went long, I would put my stop just below the low from last week, which is 650-ish, 660. Why? I don't want to find out how much lower they want to go. I'm going to put an alert down here. What if somebody says something one day and go, ooh, like, I don't know, student loans forgiveness headline comes out, this thing falls. Technically, trading, yes, you get long here, you get out here. So book profits. Sellers are going to be there at 750, I guarantee it. This could double as an investment too on SOFI if you're not long already. All right, Stone. I think we traded STNE, didn't we? I don't see my comments. I'm fairly certain. Anyway, the dip was an area to buy. If you did that, good job. And this curl could extend. If by some miracle they take out 11.2, it goes to 12.2. But this might still be pricing in this guy. I think 11.50 is very difficult. Very difficult. So I'm going to put that zone as resistance. I'm going to draw a box, and this will be an exit zone, or I'm going to say resistance. A lot of support below. So if I'm long, I don't have to panic out if I own shares or sold puts or credit put spread. SXC. Okay, Jerry, thanks. I appreciate it. So Siemens, sorry, message me during the day. We can talk about Siemens if okay. So low pressure system down here. I'm surprised at this tall wick, but this tall wick tells you there's a huge buyer anywhere below 840. Look, they don't spend a lot of time down here. And conversely, that red line is the heaviest point of volume by far. So in theory, we're stuck between the red line and 7.9. I wouldn't buy calls here. I wouldn't own it. Suncoke Energy. Don't know what that is. Rallies will be met with selling. If it's a long-term investment, then just hold on to it. It's not a wrong place to enter a long-term investment. Who is this? Team. Okay, we've traded Team quite well. We are in an ascending channel still. They are buying dips, bought. Dips, bought. So if you went long into this dip, good job. Maybe I will try to swing trade it. Add Team to swing. Oh, it is already there. So if they hold the lows from last week, I see a bounce level at 169 and another one at 166 and change. This was the target. Look at that. Let's zoom in and read my comments. That's how we know we're doing well or not. What does that say? Possible, realistically, half. So it was possible and then some. So this was from back in October, middle. I said it's possible, but realistically it's half of it. So half of it is right there. And that's the, they tried to stop half, bounced and lost it. They tried to recover half. They couldn't. They tried again. They couldn't. They tried again. They couldn't. And they're going to try it again. So they have resistance into half of that, where I said half of it realistic, and I put a white line there. So this zone, those two white lines, difficult. But you can also say that they have strong buyers. So if you went long, you can sit there and see what happens. Taking out 184 would be good news. And then hard line. So the credit put spread works. Whew, a lot of lines on Tesla. You saw me sell a credit put spread for, was it this week, folks? This one? No, that's old. I sold one just like it here somewhere. 185, 180, I think, for 40 cents or 50 cents, 45 cents. And I think it won, or it's winning. So with Tesla, listen, I think this stock is manipulated on Instagram. No joke. The last time it spiked to high of heaven, there was an influx of pictures, videos of Cybertrucks on flatbeds that are camouflaged. I'm seeing the same ones now. I'm seeing a lot of Cybertruck, and I'm not interested. I've never clicked on a Cybertruck ad or anything like this. So someone is buying ads and pushing them, and I bet you they're long Tesla stock. They're showing the Cybertruck going around. But then I see a lot of them now that are showing imperfections, like, oh, the build quality on the Cybertruck, like, because it's such angular shapes. So what am I saying? They're manipulating the headlines, so be careful. I will be closing that credit put spread for profit. I would not let it go to expiration. All right, technically speaking, you have a buyer at 205 and a seller at 225. 205, 225. 205, 225. Yeah. So again, I will not let the credit put spread go to fruition. I will book it, leave money on the table. What is this? Oh, and also remember the flash crash to 220? It's been the wall. Keep that number in mind. Hard buyer at 194. You can go long into any dip below 200 with an immediate stop. TTD, I believe we went long and it paid right away, right? Or was that Unity? Oh, no. TTD, I wanted to go long immediately. I wrote it up in the live room, but I didn't have the chance to send it out because we went long Unity and Unity delivered. I will buy the dip if it comes back down. It's on there. The report wasn't bad. If I'm remembering correctly, they grew top line and bottom line, so sales and profitability 25 to 28%. That is not a bad report. Where are my notes? They just disappeared. Okay. Now, technically speaking, there are a lot of sellers into 70, so you're going to have to expect a battle there. Any dip back to here, I want to look at it. UNG. I want you to be careful with UNG. This ticker is very violent. It could get to 660 right now. If you're playing on the long side, you got good instinct. But you have to acknowledge the fact that this thing can go to 590 or 580. And this is not an all-time low. Okay? The all-time low is like 40% lower. Trust me. But Nick, I don't see anything. That's because the ticker is new. You want to see the all-time low, you're going to have to go to the futures, the NG. Okay, now you do have support and it's scattered from here to 580. If you lose 580, I think it goes to 4 or 5 or 480. So don't be too stubborn and don't double down. It's a trade. You take risk and you hold out and boom, you exit on a rip. Let me put it on my watch list. We've done well with it before several times. I've even sold naked puts on it, which is crazy. Don't do that. We'll see. USO, I would be long. If you bought the dip on USO, you have good instinct. Why? You fell into this and you bought the dip. I think there are sellers into 72 and 73 into 74. Okay. I said resistance and likely when we were up here. So we went to the likely and then some, and then some. I don't like oil. I think there's a seller up here, and I think it curls back down and goes to 67. But Nick, we have this and that in the world and war and whatever. Listen, oil is a manipulated conversation. Totally, it's literally manipulated, and everybody accepts it. OPEC controls price rhetoric, and they price per region, and they control inventory, and the U.S. gave them all the control because it decided not to be a participant, a player in the field. So we're at the mercy of people who don't really like us very well. And if you're putting your money in the hands of those people, that's on you. I don't trade oil. Sometimes I trade oil stocks because at least I can use options. Okay, WBA, somebody said, can we go along? I don't know enough about the company. And there's something weird. The P&L is okay. It's not changed. And the stock is just going out of business? What is happening here? So when this happens, first of all, I don't have any reference points. I would have to go to 1998. That's not me. So I urge you, if you're looking to catch a falling knife, like, oh, this company's got to bounce, it's so low. I'll tell you, does it have to bounce? And if you do take longs, I don't know, shares, calls, yeah, Echo, really, just buy the whatever you want to buy, get long however you want to get long, and stop out. If you lose these wicks, these candles, and the lowest one is 20.15, I would exit, because then we literally don't know. We don't know where we go. Animesh, that's a good. Thank you for listening, by the way. Right? High five. Why is that? Because they don't believe. Because they so. Listen, Animesh, I'm gonna do the video tonight, the strategy video. I will mention that. Okay. What was the goal this past week? Don't short because you don't believe in it, or because you hate it, or because you think it's wrong, and don't go long because you feel better. Nobody's chat is limited, Cal. You just cannot message other people in the chat other than me. So I don't know why sometimes that message comes up. Everybody sees your messages except this one because you sent it to me. Okay, because you pissed me off. No, I'm kidding. You didn't. I'm just joking. Okay, wheat. Again, I think this is like nat gas, pretty violent. And look at that, but this is a nice rhythm. Look. So if they take out the prior fail, which is almost 6, not quite, you might get the 620. I don't know how you're trading it. Right here, you have sellers, buyers. If you buy a call, or if you go long, you're guessing. If you go short, you're guessing on a 2-hour chart. If you fall into 5.7 or 5.65, 5.68, get long, you might get a bounce. But stop out if you lose the support. I really don't know how you're trading that. Excel Energy. If you went long into this dip, you have good instincts. See if you can ride it up. They're going to chop at 60. That. Oh, okay. So let's draw a line here and pull it back. Look at it. That's pretty important level, right? Look how many times it plays a role. Okay, so this is the story here. They're looking to break out from this area right there. That is 60.3. 60.3, not my red line, a little bit lower. This poke was like, hey, no, way, no. As long as they're doing higher lows, they're gathering momentum, and the buyers are in control. Now, they're going to ping pong inside this zone until they bust out. And if they don't, they'll dip right down to here. It'll still be an entry point. You have strong buyers below and trying to bust out. If you're long, I get it. Ripple, it's XRPUSD, but it will look the same. I'm long from 48. Thanks, Wolf, for bringing it my attention. 48 is down here somewhere. And I'm not exiting. In fact, I'm going to hang on to my longs for a long, long time. The long story short, this coin company was stuck in litigation for a long time. I'm going to let them, they might have more wings to flap because they've been locked up for a long time and now they're free. I'm going to give them some room. It was a substantial investment for me, but it wasn't an all-in, but it was substantial, and it's a substantial win, and it's more than 50%, actually 100%. So I'm just going to leave it, and let's see where it goes. This spike was when it went out of litigation, I think. So if I go back in time and go to 1 week, you can see where it was before. This is crypto, in case you don't know what that is. So $3, I don't know if it goes there, but if it does, I'm a happy camper. I'm long down here, so I'm okay with it here. I'm also long Solana, which is my hugest investment in crypto, and I'm long from 10ish down here somewhere, the very bottom. Yeah, I nailed the very bottom. I was in a cab, and it's up here over 60 overnight, 60 something, and I'm down here. So, and it's a substantial position, like the biggest position. It's probably 40%, 30% of my crypto, and I will trim some, but I'm going to leave runners. I don't have visions of up here, but 90, 120 can be done, but I wouldn't go long here. You're going to have to be tactical with that stuff. So let's see what happens. Of course, now crypto is back in style for reasons unknown. I think it's chatter of ETFs. Somebody wanted NVDA. NVIDIA is going into earnings, folks, and I wouldn't touch it. So let me say something. If I'm looking to trade the NVIDIA price action, if NVIDIA breaks out, the market follows. That's what happened in May. So why take on the extra risk from the earnings of NVIDIA? Okay, this P&L is astonishing. Like the improvement they went from quarter to quarter is fake. I've never seen a company that big make this much improvement this fast. That's just astonishing. So if you're long, good job, but I would rather be long the market if I'm not long already, if I'm going long right now. All right, folks, this is the end of the 3 videos. I'll stop recording.